Hey there, AP World History students. My name is Luis Silva, and today we're looking at AP World History, the long decline and fall of the Roman Empire. Very common occurrence with all of these civilizations and empires. You had the Persians that eventually fell apart, and then you had the Greeks, which eventually fell apart. And now we're looking at Rome, in this case, falling apart. Let's move on. Please do not forget to subscribe to this channel. Make sure you like our video, and also make sure that you share this video so that we can help out more students out there get ready to take their AP World History exam. But what will we learn today? Today we are going to analyze the factors that led to the collapse of the Western Roman Empire. Please make sure that you are taking notes. Make sure that you are reviewing your notes so that you can get a good high score on your AP World History exam. The Roman Republic. Please make sure that you look at the timeline that's given to you at the bottom of this presentation and make sure that you follow the timeline, because everything that we're going to talk about in the initial presentation will be focused on the timeline. So in this case, the Roman Republic. Rome began as a city-state that was heavily influenced by the Greeks. And if you see to the left-hand side, you see a star, a green star. That is basically the timeline, or the time that we're referring to in this case. By the year 509 BCE, Rome was ruled by elected senators who served in the Roman Republic. Again, please take a look at the timeline so you can see when this is taking place. During the Republic, Rome expanded by defeating Carthage. By the way, it was a brutal fight between Carthage and Rome, but Rome eventually defeated Carthage in what we know as the Punic Wars, and later under generals like Julius Caesar. But the Republic weakened due to corruption. Very important component. Corruption usually brings decline to an empire. On top of corruption, there were civil wars. And on top of civil wars, you had the assassination of Julius Caesar in the year 44 BCE. So all of this eventually led to a massive decline in the Roman Republic. Now let's look at the Roman Empire. After Caesar's death, Rome became an empire ruled by the Emperor Augustus. Under Augustus, Rome entered an era of peace and prosperity. This era is known as the Pax Romana. Please make sure that you remember this. Remember, Rome has been one of the greatest empires that has ever existed in world history. After 207 years of prosperity during the Pax Romana, the empire began to decline and was conquered finally in the year 476 CE. Look at the timeline. Look at the star, the green star. That is where we are right now in terms of Rome and how it evolved from the kings to the Roman Republic to the Roman Empire, and now all the way to the year 476, which is an era where Rome actually fell apart. Now let's look at this class discussion. Why did the Roman Empire decline? Brainstorm a list of reasons why the mighty Roman Empire might have entered into an era of decline. By the way, there's no really wrong answer here, as long as you can provide an explanation as to why you think Rome actually declined. Let's move on. The decline of the Roman Empire. The fall of Roman Empire happened in three major stages. We're going to be looking at the first one right now, and that is an era of decline due to internal problems within Rome. The Romans experienced political problems. This is something big because political problems, for the most part, divide countries. The empire, as you can see from the map, was too large for one emperor to control everything. So this contributed to the decline of the Roman Empire, its size. Emperors after the Pax Romana were also very weak. Citizens also experienced a loss of confidence, patriotism, and loyalty to the Roman government. So people basically lost confidence in the Roman government. This led obviously to the collapse of the Roman Empire. On top of that, there were also outside groups that disrupted trade. Remember, Rome had a very unique trading network that brought a whole bunch of wealth. And obviously, there were some groups that disrupted that trade. In addition to outside groups disrupting trade, there were also poor harvests, which led to food shortages. So people were very unhappy because obviously they did not have food. Rome also had a trade imbalance. They bought more than they actually produced. The government also raised taxes and printed new coins, which led to what we know as inflation. The economic decline left many Romans very poor. The Romans also experienced military problems. Germanic tribes outside Rome were gaining strength. They were becoming very strong, and obviously Rome couldn't do much about it. The Roman military was growing weak. Generals were challenging the authority of the emperors. To save money, Romans hired foreign soldiers, but these mercenaries were not loyal to Rome. This was a big problem for Rome at this particular time period. Now, there were multiple causes for the fall of the Western Roman Empire. As you can see here, you have political causes, you had social causes, you had economic causes, and you had military causes. Please make sure you pause this video so that you can review all of these contributing factors to the fall of the Roman Empire. But the immediate cause was that there were invasions by Germanic tribes and also by the Huns that ultimately brought the Roman Empire to a full collapse. Class discussion. What would you do to save the empire? Brainstorm a series of reforms that might save Rome from its decline. Once again, you can come up with a whole bunch of reasons. Just make sure that whatever reason you provide, you need to provide evidence. You need to say why that particular reason or that particular idea that you have works in order to save the Roman Empire from fully collapsing. Let's move on. Now, the fall of the Roman Empire, like we said, had three major reasons. We talk about the first one, which was an era of decline due to internal problems within Rome. The second one is a brief period of revival due to reforms by emperors, Diocletian and Constantine. Let's look at this second reason for the fall of the Roman Empire. Now, attempts to reform the empire. In 284 CE, Emperor Diocletian came to power and made a series of reforms that temporarily halted Rome's decline. To fix the military, he doubled the size of the Roman army. To fix the economy, he fixed prices for goods. To fix the lack of loyalty, he presented himself as a godlike emperor. Very important reforms that were introduced by Diocletian. Diocletian's most important reform was realizing Rome was too large and dividing the empire into the Western, Eastern Roman Empire. As you can see from the map here, you have the Western Empire on the left-hand side, and then you had the Eastern Empire, which is color-coded green on the right-hand side. This is one of the most significant contributions by Diocletian, dividing the empire, because it was just too big for one emperor to actually rule all of this territory. Let's move on. The empire was divided between Greek-speaking and Latin-speaking halves. Very important. The right-hand side was basically Greek-speaking, and the left-hand side was basically Latin-speaking people. Very important how the empire was actually divided. But the empire was also divided by wealth. The East was far wealthier than the West because it had most of the great cities and on top of that, the great trade centers. This was very important because trade brings wealth. Now, after Diocletian, the Emperor Constantine came to power and continued to reform Rome. To help unify Rome, he ended persecutions and converted to Christianity. He moved the official capital from Rome to a new city in the east called Constantinople. Very important event in world history. Now, Constantinople was a major trading center and was easy to defend. The city was built in the Roman style but had a strong Greek and Christian influence. As you can see there to the right hand side, it's in what we know today as modern day Turkey. This is an important event, like I mentioned before, in AP world history. The balance of power went basically from the western part of the empire to the eastern part of the empire. We have looked at two reasons why the Roman Empire declined. We talked about an era of decline due to internal problems within Rome. We talked about a brief period of revival due to reforms by Emperors Diocletian and Constantine. And now we're going to be looking at the third reason, which is continued decline, invasion by Germanic barbarians, and the conquest of Rome. This is the third reason why the Roman Empire finally collapsed. The collapse of the Roman Empire. After emperors Diocletian and Constantine, the Western Roman Empire continued to decline. Disease, corruption, and a declining economy exposed the West to attacks from outside invasions. By 370 CE, barbarian groups outside Rome, led by the Huns, began to attack the Roman Empire. You see to the right hand side, you basically see how the Huns were able to weaken the Roman Empire as they were attacking it, and obviously trying to take advantage of the decline of Rome. The weak Roman army in the west could do little to stop the invasions. By 476 CE, Germanic barbarians conquered western Rome. And here we have an image of the fall of Rome. This is a significant event in AP world history, as the Roman Empire, one of those empires that controlled everything and had so much power, finally collapsed for all of the reasons that we have reviewed before. So please make sure that you are aware of all of those reasons in case you are asked on the AP exam. After the fall of Rome, we know that many things happened in Europe. The decline of the Western Roman Empire led to what we know as the Middle Ages. And here we have an image of the barbarian kingdoms at about 500. Here you see how Europe was actually shaping up and how countries were evolving slowly. Here we have a village, basically during this time period after the fall of the Roman Empire. Basically everything collapsed and the people lived in different places, very isolated. After the fall of Rome, the East became the Byzantine Empire, and it flourished for another 1,000 years. So we have the western part of the Roman Empire completely fall, and then we have the eastern part, which became known as the Byzantine Empire, that actually became dominant and was actually able to grow. The Byzantine Empire kept alive the cultural achievements of ancient Greece and ancient Rome. And now let's look at the classical era. The civilizations of the classical era produced important achievements that are still used today. The combination of Greek and Roman achievements are known as Greco-Roman culture. And here we have obviously a little bit about the Greeks, the Romans, Gupta India, and also Han China. We have their beliefs, the arts, science and technology, as well as architecture. You see that a lot of those components we have today, especially when it comes to architecture. There are many structures in our world today that are designs made literally by the Romans and the Greeks, and those designs are a testament of their legacy. By the way, you're more than welcome to pause this video so that you can review each part about the Greeks, about the Romans, about Gupta India, about Han China, and make sure that you are familiar with all of the content so that you can score well when you are taking your AP World History exam. And as a closure activity, I want you to think about the following question. What were the important cultural contributions of the classical era? Please go back to this presentation and previous presentations to answer this question. Make sure that you are providing evidence, make sure that you are analyzing everything that you write, and make sure that you are ready to take your AP World History exam. Here is some vocabulary which will definitely help you be ready to take your AP World History exam. Please make sure that you know exactly what each term means, or at least have an idea of what it means, who is it related to, and what is the importance of each vocabulary term. We have come to the end of this presentation. Please make sure to subscribe, make sure to like this video, and also make sure to share this video so that we can help out other students get ready to take their AP World History exam. And I will see you in the next presentation.